What's not to love about taking control of a massive, town-flattening monster and demolishing some of the largest cities in the country? In a world where we are told what to do, and even how to do it for most of the time, it's nice to just shake off our responsibilities and mindlessly destroy for 30 minutes to an hour, cackling in a sinister tone the whole time we do it. It's the reason that Grand Theft Auto appeals to so many people. When we get angry, upset, or well, just done wrong, most of the time we have to suck it up and be civil. So we have to deny that dark, impulsive corner of our minds. But in video games, we can punish those people for what they've done to us. That's the appeal of games like Grand Theft Auto, and today's game, Rampage for the Atari Lynx. Now, Rampage is available on everything under the sun, but the Lynx version lets you bring destruction and mayhem on the go, so you don't have to wait until you get home for some much-needed therapeutic gameplay. The question is, well, is Rampage worth picking up and flying to Las Vegas, Peoria, Chicago, and many other famous cities in order to lay waste to the innocent and guilty alike? Or should you just bypass it? Well, let's find out, shall we? But real quick, before the video review starts, remember to subscribe and leave a like if you enjoy it. It helps the channel out so much more than you could ever know. And check out our other videos after this one. I'll have some links in the description to some really good videos for you to check out. Okay, onward to the review. Rampage is a monster movie and kaiju-inspired video game originally brought to the arcades in 1986. It was created for Bally Midway and was like nothing else in the arcades or in gaming in general at the time. You took control of a large monster, either ape, lizard, or wolf, and played the role of the villainous monster destroying and causing mayhem wherever you go. No doubt that the premise appealed to a ton of people, and it was a fun novelty to play in short bursts. Because of the arcade's success, it was ported to all kinds of home consoles for many years to come. And Rampage eventually found its way to the Atari Lynx in the year of 1990. The Lynx version looks and feels like a fantastic port of the cult classic arcade game, with some small extras to make the package unique for the console. Now, the Atari Lynx port was programmed by Pete Wierzbicki? I know I butchered that, I'm sorry. But it was published by Atari themselves, and they sure let you know it. Fuji's, everywhere you look if you don't touch any buttons. Fuji's as far as the eye can see. Tiled Fuji's, no less. But anyway, the game is Rampage, with a few tweaks and additions. So in saying that, you should already know if this game is going to be for you or not. Because Rampage is a game that has universal appeal and is easy to understand. But I think there are people who enjoy it for what it is, and there are other people who wish there was more substance to the game. Let me explain. In Rampage, you do just as the name implies. You pick one of several monsters, 4 in this case, and destroy several iconic and famous US cities. In the arcades, you can play multiplayer. Usually 2 or even 3 people can play the cabinet at once. Now, this Lynx version can be linked up for multiplayer, but let's be honest, nobody is going to do that in 2025. So my point is that there initially was appeal in taking on the military, police, and general populace with your friends. But most people will be going solo today. You use one button to jump, one button to punch, and the direction pad is to move you and also adjust the angle and direction of your attacks. You climb up and down buildings by simply approaching the edge and pressing up to lock on and start climbing. And your whole way up, you'll be punching out windows, the frames, and studs to these skyrise buildings, revealing several items and people as you go. Everything from beautiful women, people using the toilet, cactuses, televisions, weird concoctions, turkeys the size of people, and so much more are present within the walls. And what's cool with the Lynx version is that there is a unique amount of interactions your monsters will have with some of these items. You can do the usual, just eating people and spitting fire from spicy and flaming foods, but you can also grab the woman King Kong style and climb to the top of the building. You'll be punching one building while hanging from another in order to optimize your destruction, and you're even able to jump from one building to another, either Spider-Man style going from the side of one building to the next, or Hulk style scaling rooftops in a single leap. It's all incredibly satisfying to pull off, and Rampage is pretty fun at its core. As I said before, destroying stuff is just therapeutic at times. And the Lynx version has some nifty graphics and pretty good sounds and music to boot. The usual three monsters, Lizzie, Ralph, and George, all look pretty good, and the levels scroll a little bit, which allows for some nice large details in the background, and, well, makes the usually tiny people more visible. Now there is a new character, Larry the Lab Rat, but in my opinion it looks too much like Ralph the Werewolf. And, well, Larry doesn't really do anything for me, but he's there if you want him. Rampage really nails its presentation, appeal, and even the most of the sounds. But, well, it falls flat in longevity and gameplay. The truth is that many of us found out when playing the home version of Rampage in the 80s and 90s that the game gets really old really fast. There just isn't enough variety here to keep things from getting stale. You spend your time completely flattening the towns and going from destination to destination. And you have little interludes with newspapers informing you of your next location and giving you some funny lines. And the new towns do have some different backgrounds, some different people and interactions, and new-looking buildings. Ultimately, it's just the same thing repeated. If there was something to split up the gameplay or some different objectives, Rampage might not feel so stale after just 30 minutes or so, but there really isn't any variety to speak of. You destroy Las Vegas and move on. You destroy Detroit and move on. You destroy Phoenix, Arizona and move on. The little Easter eggs and fun nods here and there do help a little bit, but there's nowhere enough of these things to keep the game from getting really stale. So Rampage is a rare game in my opinion, in the sense that it does everything right on paper. Well, it does most things right. The sound, well, it doesn't get on my nerves and I actually enjoy it. The visuals are actually really good and the controls are solid. The game just gets boring. And you find yourself not wanting to return to it after just a few times of playing. When I was younger, I made it through 100 cities on a Game Boy version of Rampage. But today, I have no interest in playing this game that long. And this Lynx version of Rampage is actually pretty challenging, with just 3 lives and no continues. The military soldiers are deadly accurate with their bullets and the dynamite, so your health sinks quickly in some levels. I can make it to level 10 or 12 without much issue, but I usually die shortly thereafter, and I feel little to no reason to continue once I do. Rampage is undoubtedly best played in short spurts on the Atari Lynx. It might be more fun with a few friends, but again, who in the world is going to try and link up a few Lynxes in this day and age? And in this economy, no thank you. But before we give Rampage a score, we need to hop on and ride on a blimp into the city known as the pros and cons section, and review what my thoughts are on this cult classic monster mash of a game. And as always, we start with the pros. For the pros, Rampage on the Atari Lynx actually looks really good, and it was smart to make the game scroll a bit to the left and right. I much prefer this to the single screen of the arcade. You have 4 monsters to choose from, and while they feel the same to control, it is nice to have some visual variety. I do like the sound as well, and the presentation is aces in my book. Controlling your monster is pretty easy, and everything feels responsive and snappy to play. Heck, there are even some cool Easter eggs and some interactions to find. But now we're on to the cons, and while they aren't numerous, they are quite mighty. First off, Rampage gets old. Really fast. There is nothing to spice up the gameplay, and you end up bored out of your mind before you know it. Rampage can also be difficult for new players, at least this Lynx version. Some might find the challenge too great, especially with the soldiers and their deadly accurate dynamite. So when you pair the boredom with the difficulty, well, it just doesn't make for a great game to play. So with all that said, I'm going to give Rampage on the Atari Lynx a score of 2 Lynx Model 2s out of 5. This was a game that was really hard for me to score. There is really nothing wrong with Rampage on the Lynx, at least on a technical level, but much like other versions of the game, it just got old really fast, and I found myself dreading when I would have to play it again for this review. I literally forced myself to gather the footage after a little while, and I was just wanting the experience to be over. And that's not something that I can recommend. If you like Rampage and you know what you're getting into, then this is a great version of the game. It's well made. And if you want something to play here and there for 15 minutes at a time, well, it's worthy of it if you can find it at a fair price. But if you want something deeper to sink your fangs into, well, this ain't it. But you've all heard my take on Rampage for the Atari Lynx. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you like Rampage? Do you agree with my score? What's the best version of Rampage that you can play? Let me know about this and anything else related to Rampage down in the comments below. And please, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more reviews just like this one. We look at everything Atari, so check out my last video on the Lynx, where I looked at graphically impressive games. I also did a video on Atari Jaguar fighters and 7800 shoot-em-ups if those tickle your fancy. But enough tickling, it's time to wrap up the video. I've been the 7800 Pro Gamer, a man who accidentally took some sour metaceuticals and now transformed into a giant hairless mole rat as I leveled the Atari Network Studios. And I'd like to thank you all for watching. And as always, remember to stay classy, Atarians.